and welcome back to the Wardenburn Reads YouTube channel. I'm Emily, and today I have a fun little video where I'm going to be talking a little bit about a couple of Christmas books that I actually managed to read in December, and a tiny bit about some of my 2026 kind of hopes and dreams and plans for my reading life. So I hope that is of interest to you and that you'll stick around. And without further ado, let's just dive right in. So December was a bit of a crazy month with a lot of sickness involved, and just it did not go as I had planned. Hence why there were only like 2 random Vlogmas videos up. I had really hoped that I would be able to read, maybe around 10 Christmas books and make little 5-minute videos or something about them and just do all of that. It did not happen, which is fine, such is life, especially with 2 small children. But I did manage to read 2 Christmas books, and I am currently reading a 3rd Christmassy wintry. It's more wintry than Christmas book. So, first off, another physical book. I know, I'm surprising myself by how many physical books I'm actually reading here recently. But it's been really nice. I actually remembered that I had this book, which was gifted to me by one of you lovely viewers. Thank you so much. Because I was watching Gina from Gina Stayner Books, I think it is. And she was talking about how she had this, I think she called it a bind-up, which I actually really like that phrase. That she had this same book with 2 Betty Neels Christmas stories in it, and that reminded me that I had this book and that I had been saving it for Christmas time. I didn't want to read it earlier in the year when I got it because it's Christmassy. So I was like, you know what, this is perfect. I need something chill and light and just sweet and wholesome and cozy to kind of combat some of the craziness that's going on with sickness and everything else. My brain is just mush. I need something chill. And so I picked it up and read it, and well, I read the first book. I think I read last winter sometime, or maybe earlier this year in like January, February, I read The Vicar's Daughter separately. I read a Kindle edition of it, but I had not read The Mistletoe Kiss before. Let me tell you, it is probably one of my favorite Betty Neels now. It was so sweet and so charming and wholesome and cozy and all kinds of Christmassy vibes. It was really funny too because it's about a girl whose name is Ermintrude, I think is what it is. Yeah, Ermintrude, which cracked me up because my name's Emily, and 2 of my sisters think it's hilarious that they have in their phones like my name on there. One of them's like Ermopolis or something like that, and then the other one is something similar to Ermintrude. It's not actually Ermintrude or Ermintrude. My word. No, it's Ermintrude. Okay. It's something similar to that, and so it just kind of made me laugh internally every time that I saw it on there because I was just like, oh my goodness, this is so silly. But and I didn't fully realize that Ermintrude was an actual name. So, anyway, I'll just read you the little blurb on the back. St. Luke's Hospital receptionist Emmy Foster couldn't imagine why the handsome Professor Ruard, I don't know how to pronounce the Dutch names at all, so we're just going to call him the Professor, would take an interest in her, and he couldn't figure out why. With a beautiful fiancée, he found himself drawn to Emmy, or why he invited her home for Christmas with him in Holland. But after he did, the Professor couldn't help but ask himself, was he engaged to the right girl? It was so sweet, and so cozy, and so wholesome, and yeah, Emmy is she does the switchboard. She's a receptionist at the hospital where he works at. And the book starts off, it's so funny because she is like leaving a message for him. His secretary was having to rush out because she had a date with her boyfriend. And so she had Emmy run upstairs and just leave a message with him. And so she's of course this like bright, kind of bubbly, sweet sort of a girl who knows full well that she's quite plain. And so she just goes up there and she just starts like making small talk with him and telling him he must be tired because it's been a long day or whatever. And he's just like, no. Tell my secretary to never leave a message with you ever again, sort of a thing. So he's very standoffish and aloof, which is a classic Betty Neels hero trope. And then it's just kind of like through the book, she kind of wins him over in a way. And what I really, really liked about this one is that a lot of times in the Betty Neels books, it shows the girl falling in love with the guy and her kind of struggling with this. In this one, I felt like it was more balanced. They were both falling in love with each other. And there were a few different snippets where it's from his perspective and he's just like sitting there like thinking about her. And it just made their relationship feel a little bit more real and a little bit more genuine, that they were both like mutually falling in love with each other and you could kind of see that happening rather than it feeling much more one-sided. And then at the end there's like this big reveal of like, oh, he's been in love with her the whole time too, sort of a thing. Like it felt much more believable and it was just, oh, I so enjoyed it. It was absolutely perfect. It was exactly what I needed. So highly, highly recommend that one. And then the other book I read the Kindle edition, and it's The Waiting Game by Elizabeth Cadell. Now, I know I made a video a few months ago and talking about how I'd read the book. It was like The Cuckoo's Nest or something like that by Elizabeth Cadell. And since then, I have not picked up another one of her books because that book frustrated and annoyed me so much. I just couldn't stand it. But then I was watching Kate Howe, and I think she mentioned something about Elizabeth Cadell, and I was like, you know, I wonder if Elizabeth Cadell has a Christmas book. I'm gonna look and see. And she does. It's called The Waiting Game, and it is set in a small English village, and there's like the main character, or one of the main characters, there's I don't know if you, it seemed like there were multiple main characters rather than like one distinctive main character. It was like a collection of main characters. And Laura is an older woman. She's a widow and she lives in this small English village, and her stepson Ross often comes down to visit her. And so then when he comes down to visit, of course, he kind of gets swept up in some of the village life and called on to attend like the children's music recital or whatever. It's like he's this famous, he works in town and travels the world, and so when he comes to town, the older ladies in town are all just wanting him to participate and show up for different things in their little village, because then it's like he's almost like a celebrity aspect. So he comes down and it's so cozy and really domestic. Like it describes Laura's house and her kitchen, and he comes in after shoveling all the snow and she's serving him this ginormous breakfast of like porridge and eggs and sausage and who knows what else. And they're like constantly drinking tea, and it was so cozy, so cozy. And then there's a guy who used to live there in the town that moved away, and he moves back to town and he has a daughter. And oh, her name is like Gianna, or let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Which, side note, my husband got me a new Kindle for Christmas, which is super nice and exciting. I don't know what the model is exactly, but it's a very nice Kindle, and he got me a bunch of like accessories to go with it. So the case, obviously, and then like a page turner clicker thing. Super sweet of him. But yeah, let me see if I can open it up real quick. And oh, I didn't have it downloaded on this one. That's right, because I read it before my birthday, so before he gave it to me. But yeah, let me see if I can figure out what her name was. Gianna. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Gianna. And she comes back to town and she's going to throw a Christmas party for a bunch of people. And the house that she and her dad are living in is technically her dad's house, but there's her aunt Beatrice that lives there. And she's kind of very much, not kind of, she's very much ruled the roost over this house, and she's almost miserly economical. And so then Gianna comes in and starts like changing everything and wants to throw this party and do all this stuff. And of course Aunt Beatrice is horrified and just appalled and like, oh, you're ruining my life, sort of thing. But yeah, I'm not going to go too much into depth on the whole plot. It's a very cozy, village life sort of a story, sweet romance. I absolutely loved it. It's made me want to read some more Elizabeth Cadell books. So she's redeemed herself with this book. It was very, very sweet and excellent. It's not just Christmas, because it's like it kind of starts around Christmas time and then it goes on into the new year. But yes, I highly recommend that one. And then the next one that I am reading right now is, like I said, it's more of a winter book than a Christmas book, but it is a collection of short stories by Georgette, and it is called Snowdrift and Other Stories by Georgette. Yeah. And I'm 64% of the way through, and it's just a collection of a bunch of short stories like you would expect, but it's all Georgette Hayer's writing, and there's a number of them where you're like, ooh, I wish there was a whole book version of this short story. So I'm very, very much enjoying that one. And then I am actually hoping to, before like the 12 days of Christmas are over and the whole Christmas period is done with, I am very much hoping to be able to read a couple more. I logged on or downloaded a bunch of Christmas books onto my Kindle, but I have just been really struggling with reading this month, and so I don't know how many more I will get to. But yeah, so we'll see. There's a few that I added on here that were recommended by Kate from Howe, and then I was watching some of Jen from Jen's Reading Life, some of her videos, and then she's making me want to read a bunch of books, and it's great, but I also have only so much time and brain capacity right now. But yeah, so I am hoping to squeeze in maybe one or two more Christmas books. Probably another Betty Neels, because oh my goodness, I love this one so much. I'm tempted to just go ahead and reread The Vicar's Daughter, because I remember really enjoying that one, and I have the book, so don't be surprised if that happens. But yes, so that's kind of my little wrap up of Christmas books, and I thought I would talk really quickly here at the end about some of my hopes and dreams and schemes for 2026. So I'm going to try hard to not set super strict goals and things for myself when it comes to reading for the new year, just because I am hoping for some big life events to happen next year, and it's just, life is really busy, and beautifully so right now, but I don't want to try and like overload myself with all of these like requirements that I have to do for reading. But a couple things that I would really, really like to do. There are two classics books that I have been wanting to read for probably the last 3 to 5 years. It's been a long time. The first one is Middlemarch by George Eliot. I want to read this book so badly. I've never read it. I've seen the miniseries and absolutely loved it. And I would love to rewatch the miniseries, but I've kind of not been allowing myself to rewatch the miniseries until I've read the book. And I have read like the first, I don't know, 5 to 10 chapters, I think probably 3 or 4 times at this point, trying to get through the book. And I really, really just want to read the story. And it's just, I think I just get caught up in it, and life happens, and the language is just not as easy to read. And so it just doesn't happen. And I would really, really, really like to try and progress in reading that book. The other classic is Our Mutual Friend. Is that what it's called? I have it up on the shelf back there. I think it's Our Mutual Friend by Charles Dickens. Now, this book, I am like convinced that I have read this story before, but it's been a good long time, and I love the miniseries. The miniseries is so good, and I remember absolutely loving this book when I read it, but it's been like a long time since I read it, and I really, really want to reread it. But again, it's another one of those that I just kind of get bogged down and my brain just gets tired and I don't read it. So I really, really want to make an effort to read those two books. I'm not exactly sure yet how I want to approach that, if I want to kind of split it up and see if I can read a few chapters a month, or just be really intentional about trying to read it for like 15 minutes a day. Like something like that might be doable. I'm not sure, but I really want to try and read some more of those. The next thing is I would love it so much if I could read the entire rest of the Betsy-Tacy series by Hart, Lovelace. As I mentioned in one of my videos here in December, I have finally been reading through that series. I've read 4 books and I'm on the 5th book at the moment. I would love it so much to finish reading through that whole series. I have heard so many good things about it, and again, the first 4 books were some of my all-time childhood favorite reads, and so I would love it to finish that series. On the same note, at some point I should finish the Anne of Green Gables series, because I got to Anne of Windy Poplars, because this is a silly childhood trivia. When I was reading the Anne of Green Gables books when I was a young girl, I really enjoyed the first couple of books, and then I think it's Anne of the Island. There's a section right at the beginning where it's just all letters, and I could not stand it, which is hilarious to me now because I absolutely love the letter or diary format books. That's one of my favorite formats of books. But when I was a kid, it confused me and threw me off so much, and it just irritated me no end. And so I went and asked my mom. I was like, please, 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 don't make me read this. I can't stand it. It's just a bunch of letters. It's the worst. And I think she had some other books that I needed to read anyway, so she was like, okay, fine, whatever. So I've never read the whole Anne of Green Gables series. And I have heard, again, really great things about some of the later books, but I just haven't gotten there. And it was kind of funny because I read the first Anne of Green Gables book as an adult, and I'll be honest, I identified a lot more with Marilla than I did with Anne. So that was very amusing to me. Anne kind of annoyed me some in the first book. I was just like, come on, child, stop being such a child. Which is so silly. But, so that's maybe like a maybe. Sort of a goal, but I really, really want to focus on the Betsy-Tacy series. Like, that's the one that's like top priority. And then the other thing that I would like to try and do is I would like to try over like January, February, and March is to do some of the prompts from Kate Howe. She did like a Betsy Ray Reading or Winter Inspiration. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but I want to go and take that prompts list and see if I can find some books that I've been wanting to read that will fit under those prompts. And it would be even better if I could find books that fit those prompts that are on my bookshelves that I have not read. Because honestly, that's one thing that I would so love to do this next year, is read from my own bookshelves and get some of those books read and either confirm that I want to have them on my shelves or pass them on. I have so many unread books. I have like the first book in the Mitford series, which I've heard so many good things about, and I am convinced that I would love it. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I have some middle grade books, which I was watching. This video is just all about Kate, apparently. I was watching one of Kate's videos earlier when I was putting my baby to nap time. What I'll do sometimes is I just turn the volume all the way down and I just read the captions on the video while I'm like nursing him and putting him to bed. And she was talking about Middlegrade March, and I've never officially participated in Middlegrade March, and I probably won't, because sometimes that like specific like TBR restriction constraints, I don't know, the inner rebel in me just can't cope with that. But she mentioned that, and I was like, actually, I'm pretty sure I have a number of middle grade books on my shelves that I bought because I hadn't read them yet. And so now I'm really curious. I'm like, ooh, that would be so fun for March to go through and try and find, you know, a small handful of books from my bookshelves that I haven't read that fit with the middle grade March theme. So there's kind of that. But yeah. Other than that, I just want to read lots of cozy, wholesome books. I want to print out the whole list of D.E. Stevenson's books and figure out which ones I haven't read yet. I've read a lot of them, but I think there's still a few that I haven't read. And oh, I would love to reread Miss Bunkle's book. I read that one a few years ago before I really got into D.E. Stevenson, and I would really, really love to reread Miss Bunkle's book. And so I want to read all of D.E. Stevenson's books. I would like to get a similar list for Betty Neels and at this point maybe Elizabeth Cadell, and just kind of go through and try and read like all of their books. Now Betty Neels is a little challenging because she has like 160 books, but at this point I've read like 60 plus of them, so I'm well on my way. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm hoping to do, is just read lots of cozy domestic fiction, wholesome books, sweet romances. I'd like to get some more mysteries in there, And I'm starting to feel the itch to read some Louis L'Amour books, so expect that in January and February, because that's usually when my Louis L'Amour rereading kick hits. But yeah, I think that's all that I have for this video. Thank you so much for following along, and all of your support and love for my channel this year has just been so encouraging and so, oh, just amazing. I have so enjoyed it, and it has really made me want to continue to make more videos, and I have gotten so many amazing recommendations, and just being a part of BookTube, if you will, has just been such a joy, and I think that it is encouraging my reading life, and yeah, just thank you so much. I do so appreciate it. Yeah, I can't believe that I made it to 1,000 subscribers this year. Like, that is just mind-blowing to me, and I am just so grateful for each and every one of you. So, this is probably the last video of this year, if I can hopefully get it edited and uploaded before January 1st. So if you're watching it after the new year, I hope that you had a wonderful New Year's Day, and that you're having lots of cozy moments drinking tea and reading books, and that your 2026 is off to a great start. And if you're watching it before January 1st, I hope that you had a very Merry Christmas, and you're having a very cozy week between Christmas and New Year's. But yeah, that is all that I have for you today. Thank you so much again, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!